Hey everybody, welcome on in. It's ClayShare Live at 5. Every week we bring you a free live broadcast from the ClayShare studio. And this week we're going to be using the new ClayShare Sanbao Underglaze Decals. So these are designs that I have done. Many of you know that I have a line of textured rollers, and I also do underglaze decal designs that Sanbao sells. And I did some last fall for them, and they just came out. So it takes a while when you design something for it to actually end up on the shelves for you all to buy and use. So I've got 3 designs. I did preview them Monday morning, and I've been sharing them a little bit on social media. But I'm going to talk about using underglaze decals, what they are, and then glazing them too, because that's a really important part that a lot of times people, when they do demos, leave out, and it's really important. So we'll talk about that. I'll answer your questions. We're also giving away to 3 lucky winners some sets of underglaze decals. So if you're on the ClayShare email list or you are a premium member of ClayShare, well, guess what? You're entered. If you are not on the email list, well, you need to go sign up. You won't win tonight's giveaway, but you will be in for our next giveaway. So do that. Go sign up. It's easy. Go to clayshare.com, sign up for the email list. That's it. Done. That's all you got to do. All right. So I'm really excited. I've been working with Sanbao for a while now, actually. I don't know how many years we've been doing collabs together, 4 or 5. And I have a bunch of designs. You've seen them over the years, I'm sure. My snowflake one, which is really popular. And a lot of these designs just start out as doodles, and then they become textured rolling pins. And then I turn them into underglaze decals if I think there's a demand for it. So these snowflakes I did with just clear glaze on top. And then after I fired it the second time, so we bisque fired and then you glaze fire, I did a 3rd firing for the gold. Look at the gold. Look, I'll move it. See the gold? Oh, yeah. Isn't that nice? So a little extra special something on there with the gold. This one right here is a really fun one. This is my orchard design. I think this came out last year or the year before. And it's available in a large sheet, but they're not colored. They are black and white. Let me show you one that hasn't been glazed. So here's what they look like. Oh, it's on a big platter. Wait, got to keep going back. How far can we go? Oh my gosh, it's too big. All right, so here's the platter with it. It's bisque fired. This needs to be glazed. So this is up next to go in the glaze kiln. Once they are glazed, well, this one I went ahead and colored in all the little trees using Colors for Earth color concentrates. They are a underglaze that doesn't have clay in it, so they're translucent, which is why I love them. So I applied that, and then I went ahead and put clear 2167. So that's the studio clear I use here. It is Val Cushing's recipe, but it's just VC 2167, and I have the recipe up on clayshareresources.com. You can make your own clear glaze, or you can buy a zinc-free clear. Make sure you get zinc-free because zinc will alter colors and can kind of change things a bit. So here's one without any luster. This is just a glaze fire for finishing that. And here's another one I did. Now these designs aren't mine. These are Sanbao's, but I had to share this flask because it's so awesome. I do have a hand building a flask class. And then I also did a second flask class where we used underglaze decals to make this Halloween themed, or you never know, it doesn't have to be Halloween, but just to show you different ways you can use your underglaze decals. You can go check that out as a replay. So there's 2 out there, one that's just making the flask and the other is making a flask with decals. So 2 flask classes. What else we got? Oh, we got a wheel throwing one. Here's a wheel thrown one. Now this isn't in the class, although I think we did a demo on this, but I have a wheel throwing with underglaze decal class where we cover the entire piece and the body, the handle, everything with underglaze decals, and I show you how to do that in that class. Other fun things is you can use colored glazes if you want to. These are my celadons, Lily of the Valley and Tiger Lily, or what I used here. And you can still see the underglaze decal. It's under the glaze, but yet we have color. So you're not stuck with white. And here's a fun one I did using the zombie hands. And then I went back in and used gold luster. and mother of pearl. So this was a wheel thrown cup. This was a hand-built one. And we've done a few hand-built mugs with underglaze decals. You can go check those out. We're not going to make a mug tonight because we've done quite a few, but check those out. So they're there. Could I repeat the underglaze I used to fill it in? Yeah, absolutely. I'll actually go one step further than that, my dear. And I will grab my Colors for Earth. So if you stay here on camera too, Colors for Earth, translucent underglaze. It's called their color concentrates. They're highly concentrated. The website is Colors for Earth. Paula McCoy is the owner. She's going to be joining us March 13th as the sponsor. So she's been with us many times before, but she's coming up in March. She'll have a little tutorial. She's going to be with us sooner than that because ClayShare Con is coming, and she's going to be doing a couple demos during ClayShare Con. So you'll get to see Paula and some of her awesomeness. Then actually I have a color wheel I made using her Colors for Earth colors, so you can see what all of her colors look like under a clear under a clear zinc-free glaze. So, all right, I got some other stuff. Want to keep going? We'll keep going. This was one we did a few Halloweens ago where I put, sorry, it's got mother of pearl luster, so shiny. I went ahead and I did the moons in underglaze. I used chartreuse from Amico, and then I used Amico's purple. Maybe they're amethyst on here. So chartreuse and amethyst. And I let it set up just a bit, and then I laid the decal with the bats on it, and then I peeled it off and the bats stayed. And then we made a plate. There it is, just a simple little plate. But you can put color on first, then put your decal on after. So you're not limited to color after decal. You can color before decal. And I have one last piece. Oh, I got a couple pieces actually. I have a mushroom decal. See, they just keep happening. And this is crazy shiny because I put mother of pearl luster. Do you see that luster surface? That's because I did that extra firing. But these are the mushrooms. And I have a wheel throwing, basically this shape right here. It's like a canister with underglaze decals. So you can make this if you go check that out if you're a wheel thrower. See the bottom, the sides. This is black underglaze. So isn't this? With just clear glaze on top. So the only glaze used was a clear. We just used underglaze. It's speedball black for the rim and the foot. But it really does a nice job of finishing the piece off. Oftentimes when we use underglaze decals, I'm going to show you one I did this afternoon with the daisy. So when you make them, you know, you end up with this transition space where the underglaze decal stops. And then what happens? Well, you can cover it with a glaze, or you could just go in with underglaze. And I sometimes do underglaze first because I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do with it. If I want to do a clear glaze and then luster, that's one thing. Maybe you want to go in and do a really drippy glaze, and that drippy glaze comes down and it would cover that transition nicely, and it breaks up this pattern, like, so it creates another surface decoration technique on there for you. All right, I'm going to put the mushrooms back. And then the last one I have over here, well, this is exactly what I was talking about, is this is my Cardinal and Birches decal. And this one is available in a black and white with red cardinals. It's available in a white tree, so you can get black, you can get white, or you can get the blue background. And this is the blue. So all the blue you see behind the trees is in the decal already. I didn't have to color that in. So the glaze here on the rim, what I did is I didn't really worry about the edges of the decal fitting perfectly on this platter because I went back in. So some of the decal might be up in here. It might be kind of jagged and uneven, but you cannot tell because the glaze later took care of that. And this is Amico's Rutile Blue and Honey Flux. I'm pretty sure that's what I used on this. And then just the clear 2167 on the body. Now Amico has a zinc-free clear, which is great. Mako has one as well, and so does Georgie's. Most manufacturers have a zinc-free clear. So the Speedball Black looks purple. It is black, but yeah, I mean, maybe that's, does it look purple here? I think the one with the iridescent made it look different color because mother of pearl really changes things up. We used an underglaze decal when we did a mug plug demo not so long ago. And remember I made this glass right here, which has to be glazed. So it's a nice tall skinny glass, like a, what do we call these? Highball glasses, iced tea glasses? I don't know. It's going to get even smaller, which I love. I love the idea of a skinny little cup. Yeah, so the mother of pearl I use is Mako's mother of pearl, and it is food safe, absolutely. Mako's gold, which is what's on here, their mother of pearl lusters, they are food safe. So you can happily eat off of these if you so choose, and I do. This lives in my house. I had to actually go into my cupboard and dig this out to bring it out to you guys because this has been used for years and it still looks great. And does it go in the dishwasher? Yes. Should it? No. Because gold, you should not put your lustered pieces in the dishwasher, but people in my life don't listen. You probably have people like that too. So things go in the dishwasher. All right. So let's look at the design. So you kind of saw a preview of the daisy. I got 3. So here's the daisy. I am really excited to do this. This one is great. So that's one. Now I have rolling pins as well, so it's really great because the designs can kind of match. This is the floral batik, and if you like lots and lots of floral elements and swirls, you're going to love this. This is going to be so fun to color in. I cannot wait. So I just got these like Monday. They just, well actually they came Saturday, but I didn't open them up till Monday. So I have not had a chance to even play with these. I've got a couple plates drying. I'm going to be doing more with them. Look, I couldn't wait. I had to use this. I'm sorry. Had to use some of the sheet. This is Minnie's lace. So this one I showed first was Daisy, floral batik, and then this one is Minnie's lace. So it's a bigger, bolder floral, a lot of more curly cues going on. And the flowers almost are hidden, but once you add the color, they'll pop. So there's just a lot of detail and a lot going on. So there's that. I don't know why these are older. This is Candy Birds, and this is Snowflake. Now when I do the designs, I make them big enough for a full sheet, because you all asked for full sheets. I listened, so I'm making you full sheets. You're getting transfers. They're coming tomorrow. Woohoo! You love the batik and the flowers. Yes. How can you paint on top of your underglaze decal when you bisque it with underglaze decal with smear? So we're going to actually do a little bit of painting, not a lot. We don't have a lot of time to do that, but I'm going to work on this platter and I'm going to show you how to very carefully apply your color. What you're doing is you're just dabbing the color on and flooding the area. So we will do a little bit of that at the very end, and this is exactly how I did it. You know, here's the color. And as you can see, the color has not smeared. It's perfect. It looks great. And you can still see the black. Haven't lost any of the detail or any of the color. So you can color them in. You just have to be patient and, you know, don't scrub on your bisqueware because scrubbing will cause problems. All right, let's just basically make something simple. Let's make a nice little simple thing like a tray. That's simple. I find that GR pottery forms are great if you're a hand builder for using underglaze decals. If you're wheel throwing, just go for it. And my classes, I show you the real trick to wheel throwing and using underglaze decals is you make your form as a cylinder, make it a little thicker than you normally would, not a lot, just a little. And then you apply your underglaze decal to that cylinder, you peel it off, and then you volume out from the interior. You do not touch the outside again. I have a quick little video I'll be putting up tomorrow for everybody. It's just a little quickie. And all it is showing removing the decal and then pressing out. And that's exactly how I did this vase right here. So this is what I'll put the little quick video up, making the small vase. Or vase, if you prefer. You know, so if you like to make a vase, you can make a vase. You want to make a vase, you can make a vase. But I'll show you this. And then sometimes, this is what I'm talking about. Do you see how we sometimes come up to the top here? Well, you have a couple of choices. If you want this completely clean, just wipe it back with a sponge and it's not a problem at all. Or you can go ahead and wait till you bisque fired it and make sure your glaze is drippy and covers it. Or you put black or another color underglaze on that rim and you just put 2 coats of underglaze on. Nobody's gonna know that your decal didn't cover. So my plan is a little drippy glaze on this. So since I know I'm doing that, I am not worried about cleaning this up at all. No problems there. And then the bottom, I will go in and trim, but you see how there's not much to trim away? I already took care of that when I was making the piece. So there is some thinking ahead a little bit when you're using underglaze decals about what you're gonna make. You have to have the form in mind and how you're gonna finish it. So think about that before you just sit down and start making. The other thing is make sure you cut your decal to size before you start throwing, because once your hands are covered in clay, you have to get up and clean yourself up, and then don't touch your decals with wet hands. Because if you do, you will smear them everywhere. All right, let's make a tray. And what I really love about GR Pottery Forms, when you get the sets that stack, you can use the bigger one as your template for the smaller. I know, it's brilliant. Now, I have rim templates that we do here at ClayShare, and you can use them. This one was done with a rim template, and this is what I'm talking about. You can download these, we have them, and then you print them out. But this right here was this. I just cut the clay out to match this. I also cut out my underglaze decal, and we'll see if we have time. And then I press this in, so I've got this cute little dish. Now, as it's drying, look what's happening. This is white clay, believe it or not, and the decal is black. But as it's drying, the clay is changing color. It's making it look like the decal is fading. It is not. It's just the drying process. When this comes out of the kiln, it'll be white clay with black line. It's just this type of clay that I'm using. It does this. This is the Tucker's clay. I noticed that unlike porcelain, which stays white through the drying process, you feel like you're losing your decal. You're not losing your decal. It's still there. It's fine. It's there. Oh, and I have a good class. Those of you, I see people are buying lots of different underglaze decals. What do you do with them after a while? If you've got little scraps of decals, save them. I have a really fabulous, I think I call it patchwork class that I did, where we use the underglaze decals in little chunks like a patchwork quilt. It's really brilliant. And that's one of our premium classes, so you need to check that out. All right, so I'm going to cut a chunk of clay off. And then this bit here, we're going to set to the side. Let me see, I didn't bring another wear board, so I'm just going to go set this. I'm going to put it over there. All right. So I got my clay, and I'm going to go ahead and smooth it out. Now, normally when we do this, we're going to be putting texture in, right? And so it's thick. And when I roll my slabs out, I roll it out on my slab roller. This was actually a whole bag of clay that I rolled out this afternoon. So imagine all the pots you can make if you roll out a whole bag of clay. You can make a lot of pots. And I roll it out kind of thick, about 3/8 of an inch. And I do that because I want to have enough clay to make anything. Meaning, maybe I want to make a big platter. Well, big platters, you want to use thicker clay. If I'm making little trinket dishes, I want thinner clay. So I can always thin the clay down, and then it goes even further. So we're just smoothing this out, getting rid of the canvas texture, compressing the clay, helping to align the particles of the clay, which will, believe it or not, help with warping, help prevent it. Debbie, yeah, you're going to be next week, right? I did see, and I thought I emailed you back that I put you on the calendar. Maybe I just said to myself, okay, I'll put you on the calendar. So I'm thinning it down a little bit because we want it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. We don't need it to be super thick. All right, so that looks good. I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this as my template for the clay. And just sit that on there. I know it's kind of a GR Pottery Form thing. I didn't mean it to be. I just want to show you how to use the underglaze decals. And this happened to be the thing. I've got this giant clay knife. I don't know what I did with my two little ones. I've been using them all over the studio. All right, we're gonna set this to the side. And I want to finish my edges a little bit now, so I'm just taking my damp finger and rounding everything over. Okay, now we are going to go ahead and use this to cut our underglaze decal. And I know some of you are thinking, but wait, it's bigger than that. That's okay. We've got a plan, so I just need more room. That's what I need. Let's see. Let's go ahead and use this floral batik, and I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to sit my, whatever you're using for your template, for your design, you put it on there, and then I'm just going to use this pencil to draw the outline so I can cut this out. Okay, I don't know if you can see that well on there. I can see it, and all that matters is the person who's cutting it can see it, which is me. So I can see it. And then I'm just going to cut this out. I'm going to do a quick cut just to get it off the sheet, and then I'll go back in and do a nicer cut after. Because I actually want the edges to be cut cleanly. And I don't think I mentioned, did I mention the discount that Sanbao is doing? If you guys are buying Underglaze decals, now Sanbao will be part of ClayShare Con in February, but if you can't wait and you want to get a head start on things, you can use the code ClayShare15, ClayShare15, to save 15% off, so you can get your Underglaze decals. And it's not just my designs. Gosh, I don't even know how many designs I have now on there. We'll say a few. So this is the kind of thing that if you have limited studio time, I would encourage you to plan out what you're going to do in your studio. Now that's part of being more efficient and making the most of the time you have. But this sort of thing, if you know you're going to be in the studio trays, you can pre-cut your underglaze decals. Like if you're going to be making mugs, you know the size of your mug template, right? If you're hand building mugs, just cut your underglaze decals to be the same exact size. All right, I cut it out. Look, it's perfect. Looks great. Now, we're kind of doing something a little crazy, but it's going to work, I promise. Okay, now, I've got, what's over here? Got a little smidgen I gotta clean up. Hold on. Okay. Get that nice and clean. All right, now you're gonna line this up. About in the center. Just like that. And then, once you lay your decal on clay, underglaze decals can go on wet clay, greenware, that is leather hard, damp greenware like this, bisqueware. They transfer the best on clay that's fresh, like this, a slab that was freshly rolled out or a pot that was recently thrown. They do work on bisqueware, but you're not going to get a great transfer. You're going to get more of a vintage look. There's going to be missing spots. And if you're okay with that, then that's fine. And I've done that, and I think it's great too. But sometimes you want your transfer to be really crisp. So for that, you need to make sure you do it on wet clay or fresh clay. All right, so all I'm doing now is I'm making sure there's no air bubbles under the decal. I'm not really trying to press the decal into the clay. That's not what we're doing at this point. So once you get it all smoothed on there, and you're pretty confident, you're going to take a clean sponge that you've dampened, but wring it out fairly well, and then you're going to pounce it on the clay. So what we're doing is we're hydrating the transfer. We're getting it wet again. We're allowing the underglaze, which is what these are made of, to transfer off of the paper onto our clay. If you do not get it wet, or if your clay isn't really wet to begin with, then you're going to really struggle to get a good transfer. You will get a transfer, it just won't be as good. I want you all to get the best transfer possible. And so I'm going to pounce this on. Now we're going to do something a little different. Normally when we put our decal on, we peel it off, then we make our tray. We're going to actually make our tray with the decal on it, and then we'll peel it off because we got something else we're doing. We're not done with this. I've got a plan. Decals, because they're a flat sheet, they like to go on flat things. So when you put a decal on curves, you have to think about it the same as you would with sewing. You have to make darts, you have to make cuts, you have to make allowances, or you're going to get wrinkles. Like this cup here, when I made it, we put the decal on, but it's a cylinder, so it's straight up and down. We don't have any volume. So we didn't have to really worry about it. But if you're doing a cup that has a belly and is volumed out, you have to think about that, and how is that decal going to fit? So if you put your decal on while the piece is still a cylinder or flat, and then you shape it afterwards, it's already taken care of for you. All right, let's grab our little, this is a 4.5 by 13.5. Let's line that up. But it doesn't matter. This works with anything. And if you cannot get GR Pottery Forms where you are, you know, before GR Pottery Forms existed, I was using forms myself that I would just buy at the hobby store or craft store, just the little wooden plaques, or you can make your own. I've done that. So if you're somewhere and you cannot get these, don't think that this technique is out of reach for you. All right, we're going to flip. Make sure we got a little release on the end so we can start pulling it off. Because we really stuck that down, didn't we? Come on. All right, now we're going to flip the whole thing over and then peel it off. And I've got these two little blocks so I can have a bit of a raised edge, and then we're just going to fold this down. Fold our edges. And if you don't want it, so I have it kind of raised. If we get rid of these, I'll just get rid of those. Then we'll get a little different of an edge. We'll get a lip that sticks out, which that's fine too. So we'll just go with that. All right, so I'm going to smooth this and then pull it towards you. We did GR Pottery Forms a few weeks ago. They were our sponsor, and we did some demos with it. And you want to pull it towards you. And then I'm going to take my sponge and just smooth out. Now, once you drape them, you have to wait a few minutes because they're wet clay. If we flip this over right now, it would just collapse. I feel like I'm a little off. Doesn't it look a little off? We'll clean that up later. So we have to let this set. So we're going to move on to doing something else while this sets up. And I'm going to show you on a piece I made earlier. So I made a plate, and this plate is a soft leather hard, so it's not completely dry yet. I know you all want me to peel that other one because you want to see what it looks like, but you gotta wait. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the edges up. Now I made this plate in such a way that it has more of a live edge, you'd call it, if it was a piece of wood. It's got a lot of movement to it. It's not a perfect circle, and that's intentional. So for the inside, we're going to put an underglaze decal in. And I thought it would be fun to do the daisies. There they are. So the form I used for this, where is it? Oh, is it under everything? Of course. Is this right here. So I could use this to cut out my decal, to trace, and then I can put it right on here. And it will not fit perfectly. We'll have a little bit at the edge, but then you could go in with underglaze, right? And you could create a little border with that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go this, put that there. You got daisies with the Easter. The daisies will be so nice for spring, won't they? They're like perfect. Yeah, last Easter we did some. I usually get like every holiday season I get the whatever new decals are out, and I just love using them for new seasonal projects. All right, let's cut this out. Now, if you didn't want to cut a perfect smooth edge, guess what? You don't have to. I can just cut rough. Why don't we just do that? See? See how I'm really not trying to get that perfect edge like we did on the platter? I'm doing a little messy of an edge. And we'll just put it on there. It's a live edge plate. Why not have a little messy edge? We'll cover it though, so. I'm like, yeah, it'll be messy. Nah, it really won't, but we can pretend. All right, so you can check and see what's going to happen when you put your decal down. Wow, look at that. All right, so again, when we talk about fabric, we should be able to stretch this a little bit. There's a little bit of stretch, and I think we'll be okay with it. If your piece has dried out a little bit, you can always take your sponge and get it damp and just wipe gently on your clay just to get some moisture on the surface to start with. And also maybe to clean it up, make sure there's nothing in between the decal and your clay. Pet hair, lint, you know, all those pesky things. All right, let's put this on, line it up, go down, and then I'm just going to use my rib here, and I'm going to hold the decal because the plate is leather hard. So this plate is, let me come back. There we go. This plate is drier because that was fresh, wet clay. This is not. So I think we'll just go ahead and pounce it on. So we're just going to start right in the center. If you prefer using an X-Acto knife to cut, you know, what's really great is they have these wonderful mats made for sewing. You get one of those and you use that for cutting. It just, and there's rotary cutters. There's all kinds of different cutters too if you don't like using scissors. If I went back in with that red rib now and used it to smooth this out, what could happen is I could smear the underglaze that's already started to soften up. So I know it's tempting to want to go in and use the rib, but don't. Once you started putting water on, don't go back with the rib. Now you can use what's called a pony roller, which is just a little tiny roller, if you want at the beginning instead, to roll it on. Now I'm just going to come up to the edges. I'm supporting the clay because it's still a little soft, not super soft, but just a little bit. Oh, the daisy rolling pins. The daisy is one of the most popular. Like we have I would say about 10 designs that are so popular with the rolling pins. Although lately you guys are loving the butterfly garden and the conversation hearts. All right, so I can tell this side's not going to be ready yet, so we're going to poke it a little bit more. Pounce your wet sponge. You don't want the sponge dripping water. You just want it damp. I meant to make the decal a little short so we'd have an edge, but I managed to make it fit pretty much perfectly, which I didn't plan on that. I actually wanted it to be not perfect, but darn it. No, I'll just have to take care of it. All right, let's do a little peel check. Let's do a peel check. How are we doing? Good? We could peel. I think I'm going to go one more pounce around just to be sure. Sometimes you'll do this pouncing, and then you just got to wait. You leave it on the clay for, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe. But it might need a little more time to fully transfer over, especially when you have the designs that are full color and there's a lot of underglaze on there. All right, I'm ready to do it. Let's do it. What do you think? Think it's ready? So you can actually see how dark the decal looks right now on the clay. If any areas look lighter, like up here looked a little lighter, go back over those. Okay, now we're going to peel. So I got one little spot right here. I could have pounced a little bit more. If I was doing this in the studio, not filming, not doing a class live, I probably would have let it set a few minutes, but that looks pretty good. Now for the edge, you know, if you want to clean it up, you can wipe off any that's on the very edge, and that'll give you a really clean edge, or you can go back with underglaze, which is what I'm going to do. I've got some Speedball black. Now Speedball's colors, their ink colors match Sanbao perfectly. They use the same, they must use the same oxides or mason stains. I'm not sure what they use, but the colors match, which is really nice. If you're doing a border and you want your border to be the exact same shade, right? Sometimes you want that. All right, I'm going to put this up on the banding wheel. I'm going to take my black underglaze and I'm actually going to let the banding wheel do the work for me. I'm just going to hold my brush on there. And I'll do 2 coats of underglaze. And I am going to let it come over that edge onto the side of the plate a little bit. So if you don't like the edges of your plates and platters and mugs and such, because there's that transition from a decal, then do this. You get rid of that transition, you make an intentional border. And you could do this sort of thing with glaze, you could do this sort of thing with gold luster. So you're not limited to just doing underglaze. You could, ooh, let's do that. I'm going to come down on it a bit, and I'm going to make it a little uneven on purpose. Let's make it a little wiggly. This is because whenever I put videos out and I'm doing an underglaze decal and the edge of it is always a bit uneven, someone will be like, well, that's not done right because it's uneven. I'm like, it's uneven because I'm going to put a color on top, but okay. So this will be for all the people that can't stand it when I do it uneven. And for everybody out there who is, if you're worried you can't do it perfectly, don't do it perfectly. Make it like this. You know, give it character. Give it style. All right, look at that. Right? So it creates a really nice border. It finishes that decal, you know, it doesn't just stop at the edge. We've got something there. And for this piece, now that it's got its decal and its underglaze border. I'm just going to let it set and dry. I will weigh it down. It's still a little damp, so let's not weigh it down yet, but we will. And then, I don't know, 3-4 days from now, it'll be ready for a bisque fire. These plates dry really fast. So I'm going to sit this off to the side. Let's put this down here under the work table. I have a whole bunch of rolling pins. We're just going to set it on this. All right, let's go back to our tray. Do we think our tray is ready? Let's test it. It's still soft, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take it because we're going to run out of time and I want to get to some other stuff. All right, this board right here is a GR Pottery Forum work board, and it's great for working on, but I don't like to dry my pieces on it. So I'm going to go over here. I'm sorry, I have to leave the camera for a second and grab another board I have that I use in my studio. It is from High Water Clay. It's one of their bats that they sell down there. I love these bats. They're so thick, and they are a bat for wheel throwing, but I hand build on them all the time too. And you can see I hand built and didn't clean up. So let's quickly clean. All right, now I'm just going to take this and sit it on here and flip it over. It's a little soft, I'm just going to say. Normally, oh no, it's good. We would let this set up a little longer. This is where I scooched it. Did you see I bumped it? So it's a little see, oh, it's too saggy. I'm going to have to put it back on. I'm going to have to put it back on. So what is my plan for this? Let me just tell you. So the plan for this is similar to what we just did. I'm going to put the black underglaze on the rim right up to the decal, and then we're going to peel the decal off with the decal as the decal is going to be the resist. Let's see. I don't think it'll hold its shape. You know, the success with pottery is timing. It's always timing. But I want to show you how this looks. So let me do what I should not do, just so I can give you guys. So you brush on whatever color underglaze you want to do your border with. It does not matter. I'm doing black just because the decal's black. And oops, I got down on the decal. I made a mess. What will we ever do? We'll fix it. The decal itself will fix it for us. All right, so normally you let this set up a little bit, not leather hard. You don't want to let it set up overnight, because if your decal dries out, what happens? Your underglaze on the decal dries out and doesn't transfer correctly. Now you go in with either a X-Acto knife, your clay knife, or a needle tool. Do I have even, oh, you know what? I also have these like cutout tools and stuff. These work great. You grab a section of your underglaze decal, and then you peel up to reveal your amazing decal with a perfect border on it. So I showed you the way to do a plate with a kind of messy border for those of you that are worried about it not being perfect, or maybe you just want to go with a more organic look. And this is for those who absolutely must have a perfect border. I'm just going to do the black underglaze. I think it's going to hold up. I don't think it's going to collapse. I'm just going to do the very outside edge is what I'm brushing on, just so it's that turn is black too. All right, so look how perfect that is. And this is a great way to use your underglaze decals if you just want to use a little bit in the center and then do a color for your border. That way you're not using up underglaze decals so quickly, because they are, you know, we invest in our studios and ourselves, but things get pricey. So I don't want you, you know, going bankrupt. I want you to make pottery and have fun and everything, but you know, this way you can be a little more frugal. So what will I do if this keeps sagging? Well, once the black underglaze is dry, which will, you see how shiny it is? It'll be about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I could put it back on the form, and I could reshape it and it would be fine. So this right here is getting a little saggy, and I also put wet material on the clay, which gets the clay wet more, so it's going to get even saggier. Do I ever use a hairdryer to firm up my clay? Well, that's a good question. Do I use a hairdryer? No. What do I use? I use two things in my studio. One is an Iwatani butane torch, so when y'all aren't looking, I'm using flames. The other is a heat gun. I mean, you can use this if you want to speed up drying. When I'm brushing on glaze, this right here is my friend, because I do not want to wait for the first, second, third coat of glaze to dry so that I can get on with my life, right? But yeah, absolutely, you could use this if you want to. Just keep in mind, when we're rushing wet clay, we're asking it to do what it doesn't really want to do, and it's going to dry faster. You could get cracking and warping when you do that. So yes, I use it for glazing. I try not to use it for wet clay if I can help it, but sometimes needs must, and we have to get things done. So you got to get things done. So there's this one. Now let's see, we have got 13 minutes and we have a giveaway. Let's do a little coloring, okay? We got a few minutes. I want to show you a little bit doing color. So let's put this in, we'll put it in the cabinet. Don't let me forget I put this in the cabinet. Somebody has to remind me, because I'll forget that's in the cabinet. And then I'll be, oh, where's that tray? And like 2 months from now, I'll open the cabinet and it's in there. All right, so we're gonna put that over there. Let's do a little coloring in. All right, so here's one that I did a little while ago. And I have to tell you, I didn't mean to, but you know how it is when we're in the studio. I have a habit of brushing my hands on things. And this came out of the kiln and I was like, ooh, look, and I brushed my hand across it. And what happened? Of course, I smeared it. Underglaze decals, until they have a glaze on it or are fired to cone 5, 6 or higher, are not set. They will still smear. So I smeared it. I messed it up. So what can I do now? Well, I can't really do anything. I'm going to brush it off gently with a very soft bristle brush to clean it off. So if you have dust or anything on your pieces that are decals, just use a soft brush. You cannot use a wet sponge to clean this up. You can't. It's just not going to work. I'm sorry. If you do that, you will smear your decal and you'll be very unhappy, and I'll be sad for you too. So use a brush. Do you see it? I'm brushing it off. Ideally, you do this outside. There is a little dust that's happening. I don't like that in my studio. I do run an air cleaning system, air filtration system, but just the same, you do not want to breathe any sort of clay dust if you can help it. So this right here, I would do outside with the wind blowing away from you, and maybe put a mask on, right? Okay, we cleaned it off. So we're good to go with that. Now I'm going to use the Colors for Earth color concentrates. And I do recommend, if you get these, that you test them with whatever glaze you plan to be using in your studio, because the colors sometimes shift. But this is with the clear 2167 at cone 5. I wrote that on there. This is the black, so I know what the black looks like. Why put it there instead of a nice, oh, I did the white at top. I guess I was trying to like black, white, I don't know. But so like for me, 132 kind of burned out, but I know 132 does work with other glazes. I think Mako's zinc-free clear, Paula has mentioned, does work with it. And these also fire at low fire temperatures. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to grab a couple colors from what I have over here. You know, the 112, which is candy apple red, you really can't go wrong with that. And then 160, which is a really pretty key lime, which is one I like a lot too. Another one I like is this laurel green. So I want some greens. I'm going to do a spring palette for this. So I'm going to use the red, the green. I think I want to do one of the aqua and maybe the purple. So that's the bright violet and the aqua splash. And then for brushes, we want a tiny little brush for this because we're going to be just using a tiny bit of color. We don't need big brushes. I like the Sumi brushes right here, and I have some littles in here that I can use. Oh, I don't put that in front of you. You won't be able to see anything. And then I have a bowl of clean water, not clay work water. See, we've got clean water over here. And you can just go ahead and start. So we have a pear tree, we have apple trees. The pear trees, of course, I'm going to do with the greens, and the apple tree, I'm going to do red. So my heat gun, where did I get it? You can, yeah, someone said Harbor Freight. Yep, I think I got mine on Amazon. It is made by, ooh, Seek One. Are we on camera too? It says, can you see? Seek One. I don't know if that's a good brand or not. It was the, hi, I'm on Amazon and I need a heat gun. You like the black. You think the black underglazes smear the most. They probably do. All right, so normally I would take this and put this on a palette, but we're going to be quick because we got to give things away. So I'm just dabbing in. Now you can use these full strength if you want, or you can water them down. I usually water them down at least 25% water, 75% color, or 50-50. Like maybe go even more if you want a watercolor effect. And that's what I did on this one. You can see this is an autumny one, and I watered it down quite a bit. So a heat gun does not blow air as much as a hairdryer. No, it doesn't have as much airflow. Right. So let's just go in, and I'm going to do these ones. And I'm not even worried about going on top of the underglaze decal in the middle, the pears, because it's translucent, so I'm going to be able to see those. So there's more pears over here. Here's the key to prevent the smearing. I'm going over once and letting it dry. If I want a second coat, you let it dry all the way and then go over again. And that is true with everything. So when I clear glaze this, I'm going to apply one coat of clear glaze, not brushing, don't brush back and forth on it. You just brush it on, brush it on, brush it on, brush it on, or dip, however you want to do it. Let it dry. If it's a dip and pour glaze, you shouldn't need a second coat. Brush-on glazes usually do. So I would encourage you to do your first coat, let it dry all the way, then do your second coat. But don't go back in and scrub around and try to fix things. If you feel like it's a little uneven or one area has more glaze or underglaze than another, just wait. See, we're just putting it on. And you see how we're getting some colors? Maybe that's it for the pear. I don't know. Maybe this one too. Because I want to move on to some other colors to show you. But I'm brushing it on, but in a pouncy sort of way. All right, let's do the red. Let me grab another brush. Right, so I see a question about wiping down after bisque. Denise, you might have missed it. I used this little brush, and I brushed the surface gently with this soft bristle brush. It'll get rid of any dust that's left behind, and it will clean your bisque. You do not want to wipe these down. Yeah. So the red, ooh, the red's going to be very red. Let's go a little, I'm going to thin the red down 50-50. That's going to be really red. That's not a bad thing, it just is. Let's do the small red tree. Let's see, that's the only red one I think I have. Wait, got one down here too. You see that red one there? I'm trying to do the ones that are in the camera. That might be on camera. Let's do that one. So the decals are pretty big, but I think the platter I made was bigger. So the very edge, I'm going to do a glaze. I don't know if you can see right here. I want to show you. Let me pull this in. So do you see the edge right here? We have a little line where the decal stopped. That's just the end of the decal. There is no more. It ran out. And this was a full big sheet. So this is the big 17-inch by 13-inch platter with GR Pottery Forms. And you do run out on the top. Look, I'll pull it down. Do you see the edge there? Yeah, it's cut off. And so is the bottom. So the solution is you could go in with a underglaze now and do an underglaze border, or I'm going to do a glazed border. And I'm going to have a little bit of a meltiness happening, and it'll look really nice. And that'll be how I finish that. All right, purple. Let's do some purple because I love purple. You're late. That's okay, Denise. You're here. It doesn't matter that you're late, right? You made it. So this purple's called Bright Violet. It's really a very pretty purple. And I'm going to do, I'm going to do these with the violet. So everywhere there's a tree like that, I think this is one of the most fun ones because you can color it any way you want. You know, when I first started doing the Underglaze Decal collabs with Sanbao, we would pick colors and we'd make them all one color. And we talked about multicolor and me hand coloring them in before. And I did that for the Cardinals and Birches line, for those there. But I really wanted you all to be able to pick your colors and not be limited. So that's why for these, the flower ones, and I will have some hand coloring videos with as soon as the flower pieces have been fired. So there's purple. Do you see how our colors are popping? And they will pop. They'll be really pretty. Could you use low fire glaze over the underglaze transfers versus cone 5? Absolutely. So these underglaze transfers will fire from low fire to cone 10. And that's the great thing about the black ones. Now, if they're on a vertical form, and depending on the glaze, at cone 10, the black ones could run a little bit. Just keep that in mind if you go to cone 10. You might want to go to 9, just saying. And make sure your glaze is a zinc-free glaze. All right, let's put a little bit of this color on there. This is the Aqua Splash. So Paula's great, and I can't wait for you all to, if you haven't met her yet or seen her work, go to ClayShare and search up Colors for Earth, because she has done a lot of free tutorials with us in the past, and you can watch all those replays of those tutorials that we've done, our live at 5s. They're all free. So people will always ask, well, will you keep doing free broadcasts? And we're always going to have the live at 5. You know, I know we have a lot that we offer with our premium membership, but I know that's maybe not available for everybody's budget, right? So we do the free one because we can showcase some really great companies and products and techniques, but also I know how important it is to have some kind of creative source for your creative education and inspiration. So that's why we will always do it. All right, we'll do one more little guy in the Aqua Splash. But you get it, right? Okay, so once this is all done, and I have to finish all these, so I'll be doing this later tonight. I'll be working on that. Once the color's all done for this piece, I will go ahead and I will do my clear glaze first. So I'll clear glaze everything that I want the clear glaze to be on, and I'll just brush it on, you know, and remember, we don't want to scrub, we just want to brush over, then brush over, and that's it. And then for the rim, I will go in with something that's a little melty. And I'm not sure, I mean, I did this great thing with glaze, but I don't think that matches what I've got going on here. So I think I'll probably pick a color and then I will do a flux. I'm thinking lavender mist with light flux. And that is a really great combo. One of my favorites, it's lavender mist by Mako though, not Speedball. And that's my plan for this piece. So that's what I got for that. The clear eye that Paula likes, yeah, she's using the Mako one, right, Paula? And you don't have to water them down. No, I water them down because I like a watercolor effect. But even at full strength, you're going to see that black showing through. All right, we're at giveaway time. Give me the slips. I'm very excited. All right, 3 lucky folks are going to win some Sanbao Underglaze ClayShare collection. So you guys are gonna get some great decals to play with, and I hope you share what you do with them. And as we get to the end of this broadcast, I want to remind our premium members we'll be back at 6:15, so just in a few minutes. I got a lot to clean up because we are going to be making hand-built bacon cookers. That's right. The new wheel thrown class we just did was the wheel thrown bacon cooker. We did hand-built ones, and I have them in half slice and full slices. For those of you who like to make a full slice, those who like a half slice of bacon. So we're making bacon cookers next. Okay, so let's give these away. I didn't realize how late it was. I have to get going. All right, and Paula shared that Mako SW-004 zinc-free clear. Okay. And Duncan Bright Clear if you're doing low fire. Fabulous. I love it. Okay. The first winner of the Clayscape Sanbao Underglaze Decals is Clara Ocha. Clara, congratulations. You get a pack of ClayShare decals. Woohoo! I believe you're getting all the new ones, a pack of all the new ones. So that's a pretty sweet prize. Yay! All right, the second winner for tonight is Lindsay Thompson. Lindsay, congrats. You and Clara are getting some great decals. Now, remember, how do you enter to win our prizes? You go to clayshare.com, you sign up for our emails. That's it. Premium members of ClayShare, you're automatically entered. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to watch to win. We will email the winners. That's why you have to sign up. I need your email address. You need to fill that information out because I can't give you prizes and let you know that you won if you don't give me your information. That's just how it works in life. Sorry. And then the last winner for tonight is Patricia Mullen. Patricia, congrats. So Clara, Lindsay, Patricia, you ladies gonna get some underglaze decals. And anybody else who wants to pick some up, you can go to Sanbao's website, which is chinaclayart.com. Why it's not Sanbao, I don't know. Maybe Dan will tell me one of these days why it's not Sanbao. Maybe that site was taken. But it's chinaclayart.com. Use the code ClayShare15 and you can save 15% off. We will have Dan's mom, Zing, will be here, right, Kev? Ying, sorry. I don't have it written down. My brain is so full, I cannot remember. So she will be here on February 21st, the first day of ClayShare Con. Ying will be here. So, yay! And she's going to do an amazing demo with Sanbao Underglaze decals or some other products. I'm not sure what she's doing yet, but ClayShare Con is coming. It's less than a month away. If you don't know about it, it's our 5th year of doing it. Go to claysharecon.com for the schedule. It is being updated every day, so stay tuned there. And it is a free online conference, 4 days of fabulous clay awesomeness coming to y'all in February. All right, I gotta go. I gotta clean this up because we're making bacon cookers. I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Take care. Bye, everybody.